Most of the spirits that haunt Urborg were once ordinary people, even children, twisted beyond recognition by the swamp's corrupted mana. Hello folks, Phil Gallagher aka ThrabenU here for another Legacy video, and today Ryan has asked me to play Legacy Doomsday. So, brief history lesson. For a very long time, Doomsday was a niche legacy deck, mostly played by absolute mad lads who went deep into spreadsheets for Doomsday piles, and the deck was like relatively difficult to win with. And over the last, I don't know, like 8 years or so, Doomsday has just kept ticking further and further and further into a real legacy deck that's relatively simplistic to pilot compared to what it used to be. And one of the first big strides forward on that front to making Doomsday a truly competitive deck was Thassa's Oracle, which was just kind of a cleaner win condition than everything else that existed previously. And it simplified the piles a lot, because ultimately, every time your pile includes Thassa's Oracle and some number of cantrips or other ways to make sure that you will get to your Thassa's Oracle with enough mana to cast it, and that you also will successfully resolve it through whatever sort of interaction that your opponent is going to have. And if we think about current Legacy a little bit, Doomsday is a relatively good deck right now. It got an Eternal Weekend top 8, maybe multiple. I didn't cross-reference the 3 tournaments to check. It got a top 4 in the recent Super Qualifier. But one of the questions that I have is, well, what version of Doomsday do you play? Because you can adjust the speed and level of interaction that Doomsday has by quite a bit. So in the Eternal Weekend top 8 deck list, there was a lot of sort of, I'm going to make sure my spells resolve interaction with things like Veil of Summer and Teferi. And the deck list that I'm going to feature today has a more solid mana base and is also going to be playing the One Ring. So why don't we go ahead and take a look at that. So here is today's deck list. This is one that we've been seeing from some of the Magic Online Doomsday grinders, such as Monkeys Can't Cry, who top 4 at the Super Qualifier with this list. So conceptually speaking, you know that you want to Thassa's Oracle, but Doomsday sometimes puts you in this really dubious position where you have put yourself to a very low life total. And sometimes you just kind of need a fog effect to go and buy yourself time to actually execute your Doomsday. Also, like, let's say that you have a copy of the One Ring in play and then you cast your Doomsday. Well, you might be able to draw 2 or 3 cards and do something like Lotus Petal, Thassa's Oracle, and win immediately. So the One Ring is a protection effect, it's a card draw effect, and it can also do some neat things, because a lot of times Doomsday decks want to have some sort of secondary win condition in the sideboard, oftentimes some sort of creature that can spiral a game, and Sheoldred plus the One Ring is something we have seen do a lot of work in various mono-black decks in Legacy. Dark Ritual is a really good card in the Doomsday deck, in that on turn 1, you can just fetch Dark Ritual, cast Doomsday, and then potentially go off on turn 2 relatively easily afterwards. And it's a good enough card that many versions of Doomsday are also playing some number of Cabal rituals. A weakness of both of these cards is that they don't necessarily do anything unless you have a Doomsday, and the One Ring solves that problem by giving you another good thing to Dark Ritual into. And let me tell you, if you cast a copy of the One Ring on turn 1 and you're playing a combo deck, like, you're gonna have a good time. I guess one of my other questions about this deck is, like, is Lorien Revealed good in this deck? Is that the sort of thing that I'd want to have in here as an early game cantrip, or a late game way to, like, use your Dark Rituals in a different way, just like you can with the One Ring? That's something I'm kind of curious about as an outsider. And the other thing that I just want to let you know ahead of time is that Doomsday, even though the piles are a lot easier than they used to be, can still be a really good, or sorry, a really difficult deck. And I've played somewhere on the order of 4 Doomsday leagues lifetime. Like, I understand, generally speaking, how the card works. I understand some basic lines, but when I have to start figuring out how do I play around Trinisphere and Blood Moon and Broadside Bombardiers at the same time, I might just like break my brain in half while trying to do this, as a, kind of casual, competitive, like line straddling content creator. Doomsday's tough to pick up and play. I've got a lot of legacy reps. I know this format like the back of my hand, but Doomsday is one of those decks where you make a mistake, it loses you a game, you write it down, and you go, okay, I've learned that one. I'm not going to do that again. And I just don't have that raw experience, so I'm going to mess things up today. Just full disclosure ahead of time. I do most leagues that I play anyway, but it might be particularly true today. But if you like what you see from this Doomsday list and you end up wanting to buy any of it, please check out Cool Stuff Inc. and use promo code ThrabenU to save 5% on your order while supporting my channel. Let's battle. Okay, my hand is a keep. It's ever so slightly awkward in that Edge of Autumn isn't necessarily a card that you want to start the game off with. There's a couple different ways this Ponder could go. I know that I'm good with casting it now for sure, but like this Ponder could shove me in a go for Doomsday direction, or it could shove me in a you're just going to play the One Ring in a fairway direction and Doomsday eventually. All right, we're going to pick up an Underground Sea and Ponder. I could choose to get Island Swamp since I do have a Cabal Ritual, but the thing about Doomsday is a lot of times you need black, black, black hips, and so you're incentivized to get Underground Seas and not play around early Wastelands. There's that Doomsday. I think I'm into this. I think I draw Thoughtseize and put Doomsday on top of my deck and draw it next turn. That way, I'm not vulnerable to an opposing Doomsday immediately. Or, sorry, an opposing Thoughtseize immediately. Otawara. So we're probably playing against an 8-cast deck, which is a deck that does have counter magic. So I think I like casting a Brainstorm, kind of putting back some of this clunky stuff and going from there. Let's put back a copy of the One Ring for sure. And I'll probably put back a Personal Tutor. That's not really necessary when I already have Doomsday and a copy of the One Ring in hand. And let's just take a quick peek here. Ooh, my read was wrong. So we are playing against a Rhinos deck. And unfortunately, my opponent has 2 relevant cards here. They have an Endurance, which can mess with my Thassa's Oracle Kill, and they also have a Force of Negation. They also have 2 Cascaders, so it's not like I can knock them off of that. I'm going to take the Endurance, I think. I'm going to just build a pile that has 2 Thassa's Oracles. Do it twice. Kind of awkward, though, with this many cards. Maybe I'll take the Force of Negation. No, if I take the Endurance, I can try to get them to Force of Negation the One Ring. I think that's a better plan. So, Spirit Guide is going to get pitched for one of these, but not immediately. Personal Tutor came back, which I don't really want it to. Am I just like dead to just 8 power? I have to Doomsday and win on the spot. I can't really do. There's also this Force of Negation. This is just an ugly hand to see on the other side of the table. Dark Ritual and Lotus Petal. Wish this was a Brainstorm. If I draw Lotus Petal, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, I have Threshold for Cabal Ritual. Yeah. Okay. So, cast this. I wonder if this even wins this turn. No, not through my opponent's Force of Negation. Alright, that has resolved. So, with 7 cards in graveyard, we'll now cast a Cabal Ritual, which does successfully bait the Force of Negation out of hand. So, next turn, I'll be at 8 life. I will cast Doomsday off Dark Ritual, having 1 mana floating and the ability to draw a card immediately. And I imagine that I can probably put together a win from there. But we'll find out. I'm at 8. Sure. And then are you just going to slam the Shardless Agent to just 100% make sure? Yeah, that's fine. Okay. Dark Ritual. Doomsday. I get to draw 1 card. So I can do... How do I get my second mana? Oh, I don't think I can get there. I can get down to 2 cards in library easy enough, but I don't have the ability to do something like LED Consider. Yeah, I think this just doesn't work. And I can't get to enough mana to play the One Ring to Fog. No, I just messed this up. I was supposed to Dark Ritual, play the One Ring, Fog, and then go off next turn. Yeah, that gives my opponent another turn to draw interaction, but I messed that up and I'm just dead on board here. Shoot! Welcome to mistakes you wouldn't make if you had played 2 leagues with Doomsday. Okay, I don't know that I'm going to sideboard much against this deck. Shouldered is okay. Shouldered is a decent way to wall rhinos, but my opponent goes wide of it relatively easily. I might just not sideboard and just run back the game 1 deck. Like, it's so easy for my opponent to just, like, Brazen Borrower a Shouldered out of the way or something. Force of Negation's not necessarily the best, because my opponent can sometimes just go off on my turn. Subtlety doesn't do what I want it to do. Opponent's not really cantripping. Yeah, I think this is either no sideboard or play Shouldered when I'm on the draw. This is unexciting, but maybe keepable. I'm really good at just drawing Edge of Autumn. So I need to be getting Underground Seas here to respect my black pips. I don't know that this stuff quite does anything right now. Conceptually, I like a Force of Will, but I'm not ready for it quite yet. Another Doomsday is weird. Not bad, just weird. Especially with a non-Underground Sea land there. Opponent's just suspending. Well, I mean, let's deal with that first counterspell. Oh shit, it just worked. Okay. Didn't expect that. So I think I'm kind of into a 2 Thassa's Oracle pile. My opponent had to keep their hand for some reason, right? So, like, something probably goes wrong. I don't know what. But something probably goes wrong. I think I like Oracle, Cavern, maybe Brainstorm, Street Wraith, something like that. On my turn, I'll have 4 cards in library. I'll draw Brainstorm for my turn. Put back Oracle, Street Wraith, Cavern, Brainstorm. Alright, my opponent has 3 mana and now gets to kind of do their Rhino thing. And put Lethal Power into play. Now I'll Brainstorm. Force of Negation. I die? An Edge of Autumn into Cavern of Souls, and then I don't have enough mana left over to do that afterwards. I guess I could have just put another Street Wraith in my pile over Brainstorm, and then not cast a non-creature spell that was vulnerable to Force of Negation. I just figured they wouldn't have Force of Negation, or they would have Force of Negation the Doomsday. I, in fact, think that was their draw for turn. Yeah. That'll do. GG's.
Looking to run a great CEDH event? Having hosted over 100 successful tournaments, Eminence Gaming has your back with Command Tower. With its intuitive tournament manager dashboard, you can handle everything from decklist submission to player management in just a few clicks. Then, all players need to do is scan a generated QR code to have access to your full tournament bracket. Put your players first with seamless pairing software and real-time access to standings. Take the guesswork out of tournaments. Give Command Tower a try for your next event.
Keep? This is definitely a weird one. I could Dark Ritual Thoughtseize. I don't think that's what my Dark Ritual is probably supposed to be used for, though. Sure. This is going to be a relatively slow hand. Let's take the Chalice. And I'll play this out because I have very little reason not to. I'm just going to pass the turn here. I don't know if Bob should have kept that hand. Not really what I want my hands to look like when playing goblins. Doomsday. A pass the turn Doomsday line should be totally fine from 18, given where my opponent's mana is currently at. So I will Dark Ritual Doomsday. Edge, Wraith, Oracle, some other random card. Yeah, Edge, Wraith, Oracle, and let's just take another land in case I were to get like wastelanded or ported. So Oracle goes on second from bottom, Cavern of Souls goes on bottom. I only want that if I get wastelanded. So like yeah. Sure. A fourth mana. Ringleader's fine. Yeah, so my opponent is going to cast a 2/2. I'll go to 7 and then they die. That's fine. So, go to 5. Go to 3. That's 2 cards left in library. And this is fine to just Thassa's Oracle and win. Okay, yeah, I think Bob should have mulliganed. Alright, against goblins, I can consider this sort of stuff. And it will be fine. Don't know how good my dazes really are. I don't know how deep to go into this stuff. The Chalice shows me that my opponent is playing a Stompy build rather than a traditional Goblins build. 21 drops. Do I need to play Force of Negation to stop Chalice? Like, Chalice doesn't stop the Doomsday or the Oracle or the Cyclers. I don't know. This is where I don't have reps to know. Or like blasts and pyrokinesis and stuff that I have to watch for. So like Thoughtseize is somewhat valuable. I think I'm going to play a Dismember and Orcish Bowmasters and a second Orcish Bowmasters. This gives me some number of bodies to buy time. I'm not sure that this has enough mana to be functional. It also doesn't have a counterspell to stop something like a turn 1 Chalice, and a turn 1 Chalice just like deads this hand. Let's try to find something with better mana. This is great. So we'll junk the One Ring here and go from there. Yeah, there's the Chalice that my first hand would have folded to. Ooh, I drew an Oracle even. That's mighty nice. So, shock. Dark Ritual, Doomsday. I want a second Oracle to try again if I need to. Probably want another mana source. Don't have 2 basic islands, so I'll make it Cavern of Souls. Probably want a Street Wraith as a free draw. Then I don't really know what else to put in the pile. Maybe just like 2 Edge of Autumn or something. Then my turn is Street Wraith, Edge of Autumn, Oracle, and if it doesn't work, I'll just Oracle again after that. That's fine. Alright, so Oracle on bottom, then Edge, Cavern, Edge, Street Wraith. And then hopefully this is just fine. Battlecry Goblin is fine. So, go to 6. Float blue. Sack a land. Cavern of Souls. On Merfolk. Blue mana for Thassa's Oracle. Thassa's Oracle on top of my library. And we win. Alright. That one went well.
Today's video is sponsored by Moxfield.com, which is just the best place to keep your online deck lists. And one of the things that I love about them is that you can use it to keep track of what cards you do and don't have for a deck. So for example, in this deck list, I have all of the cards, so there are nice blue bubbles filled in here, and that's automatically ported over to your collection tab, where you can see exactly what cards you do and don't have.
So this hand's really interesting, because I can just like play the One Ring on turn 1, or I can Doomsday on turn 1. And I don't have reps to know which is right. I'm always casting this Lotus Petal. I could just like not go turbo and just play Thoughtseize. And I can Doomsday afterwards if I think it's necessary. I just take Undercity Informer and then I Doomsday. That's fine. So I can't win next turn. I need to make a land drop and then play Thassa's Oracle. I can like Oracle, Street Wraith, land. Oracle, Street Wraith, land. So I should draw an Oracle next turn so that I can Force of Will with it. And then I draw Underground Sea the next turn. Does Street Wraith just go on bottom? Yeah, I guess. Yeah, so Street Wraith, Oracle, Sea, Oracle. So my opponent's got all the mana in the world, so I just need to dodge them drawing a payoff this turn specifically. Uh-oh. Thoughtseize is fine. Oh, I lost the One Ring there instead of Force of Will. I'm ecstatic about that, honestly. My opponent used Agadeem. So this is what they have. Yes. So one unknown card. Uh-oh. Dark Ritual? Ball Ritual? Spirit Guide's gone. They're going to cast an Agadeem's Awakening on Undercity Informer. That's cute. So I'll just Force of Will this. This is fine. And then I draw Underground Sea, and then draw Oracle and win. Bam. And I don't think there's anything that beats me. My opponent can't do much from 2 mana here. So we'll just Oracle with 2 cards left. And we get there. Beating Oops in game 1 is huge. I don't think we're faster than that deck on average. So I can play Leyline to help with discard. It's not like the most exciting thing in the world. And then Force Negation and Subtlety also exist as other free cards. Force Negation is weird because it doesn't actually stop my opponent's payoff cards, it stops rituals. And so the payoff card is left in my opponent's hand, which is not great. I don't think I'm super interested in the One Ring here. Those become subtleties. I'm not sure how good Personal Tutor is, because it just kind of guarantees a pass the turn Doomsday when I kind of just want to go now. Like, something else has to give from this deck list. Like, I can go down, like, Edge, Personal Tutor, play some extra counterspells, increase my blue count a bit. And I think just accept that sometimes they hit me with a discard spell. I'm not sure about the last Force of Negation. I think I don't play it. My hand has no initial disruption for my opponent. I'm not on board with this. It also has no Doomsday. Does this win on turn 1 if I put back Cabal Ritual? So fetch, Dark Ritual, Doomsday, with Lotus Petal available. No. No, it wins on turn 2. I probably just keep this at this point and throw back Cabal Ritual and hope that a turn 2 win is just fine. Sometimes it is, sometimes it isn't. Like, my opponent could just as easily mulligan to a Thoughtseize hand once they are on, like, 5. I don't think I keep a hand that looks like this if my opponent is still on 7. Turn Timber? That's fine. This is bad news for me. So I am just going to die. I can see what sort of things my opponent sideboarded, though. They have a Spirit Guide as well. Pact of Negation, Memory's Journey. That is target player. That's something to think about. Everything else here looks pretty normal. There's the Thassa's Oracle. Okay. Yep. All right. I will concede. Maybe I can cut my second Cabal Ritual and play an extra Force of Negation. So I can keep a hand that stops my opponent's first attempt, maybe, but then has no ability to sculpt into a Doomsday afterwards. I don't think I like this. I don't like this either. I could Crazy Person keep it. I am 1 mana source away from a very strong hand. My opponent has already mulliganed once. I think this might win a higher percentage of the time than my 5-card hand would. Alright, we are going to have a game of Magic here. My opponent has mulliganed to 3. I've kept a no-lander. Let the battle begin. Yep. Never didn't have it. Okay, so do I go this turn? I probably don't have to. I can probably just Thoughtseize, take my opponent's critical card, and go from there. Well, that's awkward now, isn't it? I guess I'm taking Cabal Therapy. I can't take the Spy. And leaving my opponent with Cabal Therapy kind of forces the hand on my force. Oh, it currently costs them a Lotus Petal to do that. I could just take Reanimate. I'll take the Therapy. That's super weird, though. And it looks like my opponent is just passing the turn. So I Dark Ritual Doomsday and can Brainstorm afterwards. This seems like it probably leads to a win either this turn or next turn. Underground Sea. And we'll Doomsday. Okay. I have 5 cards in library. Cast Brainstorm. Go down to 4 cards in library. I can do like, I can get a Petal, and then, or no, I get LED and Consider. Yeah, LED, Consider, Oracle. All right, I have to reread Consider, it's been a while. So I junk 1 card, draw a card. Cast Brainstorm, get Consider, LED. Cast Consider, crack LED, 3 mana, Street Wraith, Oracle. All right, yep, all right. Oracle, Consider, LED, Street Wraith. Done. I want to draw Consider LED, and the Oracle just goes on bottom. Yeah. Brainstorm. I meant to stack this to mill something else. Guess I just dropped Force of Will as well. That's whatever. Wait, where's my mana for Consider coming from? I'm an idiot. I just talked about this entire line like I had a blue mana available, but that blue mana was for the Brainstorm. So it should have been, what, like a couple of Petals and Street Wraiths? Like Brainstorm, get Petal, Street Wraith. Maybe it just doesn't work. Alright, whatever, I'll win next turn. Alright, so my opponent casts a Dark Ritual. It's not really a problem. Spirit Guide. They cast Spy. Their last card is Reanimate. I guess Subtlety is better. So I'll pitch my Force of Will and take out their Spy. Wait, does this also not win this turn now? Because LED is my top card. Damn it. I'm so bad at this deck. I don't think I can lose, but I'm so bad at this deck. Okay, so now there's 2 cards in libraries. And at this point, my opponent knows that they are dead. Got there anyway, despite absolutely doo-doo stains play. All right, so this is round 4 already. We're 2-1 somehow. And a better player, I think, would be 3-0. Uh-huh. What is that? Douthie Voidwalker. Okay, this could have been way worse for me. Okay, it's not great. Now I lose the personal tutor for the Doomsday. And my opponent gets to follow it up with something else. Which is honestly just rude. Bowmaster, sure. I mean, that's good. It'll make my Doomsday piles harder. Okay. Dark Ritual, Doomsday. I go to 9. I take 2. I'm at 7. I draw 3 cards. Wait, no, I can't do the math like that. Because I can't do that with Street Wraith. So I go Underground Sea, Dark Ritual, Doomsday. Go to 9. Get attack to 7. Edge of Autumn, down to 2 cards in library and Thassa's Oracle. That seems to math out. Let's do it. Doom! My opponent just typed XD in chat and conceded. Alright. So we are presumably playing against Mono Black Helm, which does not have a very strong metagame presence right now. So I don't like the One Ring versus Orcish Bowmasters, and potentially Karn as well. So those are going to go. I don't know what my opponent's deck list looks like, and by that specifically, I don't know if they are on Grief Reanimate, or if they're on, like, Chalice of the Void, and that, like, changes what sort of stuff I want over here quite a bit. I think not knowing the answer to that question, I'm just going to Force of Negation to help with an opposing Beseech and call that good. And if I see Grief, Leyline starts to become more attractive. You know? Like, I'm real good at stopping shit. But, like, my cantrips are bad. And even if I rip Doomsday, it's just, like, not that good. Let's find some stability. This is not the stability I was looking for. But I am probably going to just reluctantly keep this hand and hope that it turns into something good. Okay, it is Grief Reanimate. So I want Leylines if we go to another game. Alright, I lost Brainstorm, and then Grief comes back and takes my Thoughtseize. All in all, not good for me. So, since my opponent has Urborg, Island is Underground Sea, and Island is not Wastelandable, so I'm going to pick up Island here and cast Ponder. Another Ponder is fine. I very actively do not want the other cards, though. I am going to shuffle, and we're not super happy with this. Note, I would like to try to avoid fetching if possible, to not play into a potential opposition agent, which is a common sideboard card from a deck like this one. Yes. That Lily? Wow. I mean, your Thoughtseize happens. Maybe they're not actually Mono Black Helm. Lily would be a little weird there. Blah. There is currently no world in which I can be opposition agented right now if I fetch. I am, however, not going to fetch. Leyline also would help out with the ultimate on this. And technically the middle ability as well, but not really going to be sacrificing creatures. I'll eat this 3. 13. You got it. You absolutely got it. This is the sort of scenario where, like, just having a Sholdred would be pretty hot. Again, if my opponent randomly has stuff that looks like this, though, that's considerably worse. Okay, I cannot be opposition agented right now. One of these fetches is free in terms of my life total, since I'm currently at an odd life total. So this gives me blue. Doomsday puts me to 6 life. I take 3 of that from grief. We'll do it. So after I draw for turn, I will have 4 cards in deck. I will be at 3 life. Bowmasters, I think, just beats me? What about Edge? No, Edge doesn't work, because I am at 3, get pinged to 2. I guess I just lose to Bowmasters. I should just do this in a way where I don't lose to something like removal instead. Don't think I want to fetch because of opposition agent. So just ignore Bowmasters. Edge, Street Wraiths, Oracle. I could do this where I have Force of Will available. If I draw Brainstorm, I immediately die to Bowmasters. I'm already dead to Bowmasters, so I cast Brainstorm. 4 cards in deck. Go down to 3 cards in deck. Draw some blue card. This could look like Brainstorm, Oracle, Edge Fetchland, or Edge Underground Sea. So go to 6, go to 3, cast Brainstorm. But yeah, I think this works. I guess this exposed me to opposition agent. So Oracle, and then it doesn't really matter, because I'll Brainstorm into the rest. Fuck. That was the card that always beat me. It was all for naught, because this puts me to 2. And then, was there a consider pile? I'll just concede here to give my opponent their time. So if I draw consider, now that doesn't work either, because I don't have another mana source that produces blue. Yeah, I don't think I could have beat Bowmasters there. All right, so it looks like my opponent is closer to an aggro deck. The Force of Negations are a little bit less necessary. I could play Subtlety for Bowmasters, because that is one of the cards I think that just beats me the hardest. My Street Wraiths are also, like, significantly less good. How is Thoughtseize? Thoughtseize gets Bowmasters out of the way. I could just do something that looks like this. I'm very uncomfortable sideboarding with this deck. No? I think it's very easy for this hand to just implode on itself. I'm going to say no here. This is fine. I'll keep this getting rid of the LED. I maybe should fetch on turn 1. Opposition agent is just an absolute beating. So I think I'm going to do that, despite the fact that it might make my ponder slightly more awkward a turn down the line. Okay. The opponent's hand's pretty good. I maybe just take the Bowmasters. I'm not going anywhere fast this game. My opponent Thoughtseizes me, takes my ponder. I think the Bowmasters is the most damning card here. It's a little awkward putting it in the graveyard since my opponent is a reanimate deck. Yeah, so Swamp Thoughtseize. I think could daze. I think I'll daze. Sometimes my opponent rips a land and then they resolve a 4-drop next turn. I think hiding the information is good. Ooh, buddy. That's awkward with grief though. We'll make it work, though. 3rd land. I don't think I like this. Let's shuffle. So next turn, I can Doomsday, and I can win the following turn. But my opponent probably hardcasts a grief here. Yeah, that's good. I lose the Doomsday that I randomly top-decked into. I am going to play this fetch with the intention of making a cantrip better. I'm a little mana heavy right now with like all these lands and Cabal Ritual on top of that. This attack brings me to 14. Doing okay, but another piece of pressure in play becomes awkward. Bowmasters is incredibly good as a top deck right now. Reanimate is incredible as a top deck. Even just an Ancient Tomb into Karn is a little scary because it can represent land destruction or pass the turn Doomsday lines. Alright, Troll Cycle. Yep. Sure. And it is Karn. So that can just like get liquid metal coating. And that's probably like the best case scenario for me if my opponent randomly has some sort of Trinisphere Caliber card in their sideboard. Life gets awkward fast. Oh, it's just Helm. That's fine. That's just more mana. That's no good. I play Underground Sea. Lotus Petal has no text with Karn in play. I go to 11. There's a shock. So the real problem with Helm here is twofold. One, my opponent can just Karn and attack me for 4. 2, my opponent can just activate that and mill me out after a Doomsday. So I think I'm out of outs here. I can draw Brainstorm and then fetch. I don't think that works. Just like I run out of mana. Well, we found a Brainstorm anyway. If I cast a Brainstorm, I am dead on board. But let's make my opponent, I guess, see the lines. So I fetch, grab an Underground Sea, play a Cavern on Merfolk. I have Threshold, I'll Cabal Ritual, and Doomsday. I need 2 Thassa's Oracles. Oh man, I really need 2 Edge of Autumn. Fuck. I think I'm just dead on board, multiple different ways. I guess I'll grab some Brainstorms. Grab an Edge of Autumn. Alright. My opponent can activate a Helm for X equals 4. So I want a Thassa's Oracle as my bottom card. And then I want this, I think. Alright. So, like, my opponent can kill me however they want. Helm probably beats me, and Karn activation on Helm is deterministically just dead on board. That also kills if they just have the Douthy Voidwalker and the Helm. That'll do. And I am dead. GG's. Okay, final round here. I don't have a land with this, and I don't think this is worth risking. This is fine. Without a blue card to pitch to Force of Will, I think I'm just going to bin this and hope that Thoughtseize gets me to where I need to be. Let's Street Wraith prior to Thoughtseizing. That'll inform my decisions about the Thoughtseize a little bit. Daze is an okay pickup. It's a mirror. I'll take your Doomsday. This is fine. Since I have a Dark Ritual, I will also probably just snap off a Daze on their initial Ponder and just make it less likely that they can put together something that casts Doomsday before I do. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and put this in play. There's probably very little reason not to. This round probably goes fast. I'm opting not to ponder. I have too many lands. I'm really going to be hoping for a Brainstorm. My opponent tapped their Underground Sea and then untapped it. I wonder if Brainstorm is one of their unknown cards. There's the Ponder we know about. Sure. My hand's not great. Like, I am in very real danger. Fuck. Okay. This is bad. Alright, we'll take a quick glance at the exile pile here. We're mostly looking to see like whether or not my opponent is on personal tutors and whether or not I see something like the One Ring, which I do Dark Blast in game 1? Is that a concession to Bowmasters? That's real cute. Edge of Autumn. My opponent probably wins if it gets to their turn. I'm going to float a blue mana and just cycle this. Nice. And we're just going to try to sculpt into something much stronger here. Okay. If I were the opponent, I would have made a pile that has Cavern of Souls in it, and I don't see their cavern in here. I don't think that Force of Will actually gets me to where I need to be. So I'm going to get rid of Force of Will and get rid of the Ball Ritual. I'll then fetch to shuffle. I'll re-brainstorm. Thatsa's not great currently. These lands are also not good though. So now I will fetch, get a new Underground Sea. We're going to ponder looking for my own Doomsday to cast. I don't think Personal Tutor is fast enough. We're going to any order this and shuffle. Fuck yeah. Dark Ritual. And I'll Doomsday right back. You got a daze, you got a daze. Okay. So I think I'll go to 7. I think I just like Street Wraith, Oracle, Cavern, Oracle. Street Wraith, Oracle, Cavern. Done. I want to be able to cast a Thassa's Oracle next turn. That means putting both Street Wraiths on top. I probably just put Cavern Souls as my bottom card. Just Cavern, Oracle, Street Wraith. 1 daze, 1 force, 2 days, 2 force, 3 days, 3 force, 4 days. There's a Force of Will somewhere in my opponent's deck or hand. Force. Yeah. If my opponent tries to win this turn, they've got me. And they did try to win. They did so in a way where I can potentially force, but if they have Force of Will blue card there, they win. And if I use my resources to Force of Will, I don't Doomsday. That is unfortunate. So my opponent has Dark Blast. Is my opponent going to keep that Dark Blast in for the Bowmasters that I am about to board in? We'll find out, because I'm going to do it. I also might play Subtlety. That's a way to counter a Thassa's Oracle without technically countering it if Cavern of Souls gets involved. So I think I'm going to make myself into a worse combo deck in an attempt to become the beatdown. Just like assume that if I Doomsday, I'm doing a slow Doomsday, and that my ritual mana goes towards Sheoldred and Bowmasters. Okay. So I think that involves just like junking all of these and the personal tutors. That can get me these 7 creatures. Is Daze not good enough here? With extra mana from like Cabal Rituals, sometimes like Daze can be really awkward. Can maybe get rid of Cabal Ritual number 2. Or I could do something like this. This is an abomination. I'm either a genius or an idiot, and we'll figure out which. Snapkeep. So I would like to find a Dark Ritual to cast a Sheoldred with Daze backup. That's my plan. Casting the Ponder is a little awkward because then I don't have both Force of Negation and Daze up at the same time. I think it's fine. I really specifically want to hit Dark Ritual. I'm going to shuffle. Force of Will is fine. Timing of Bowmasters is kind of weird. Especially when I don't know whether or not my opponent has brought in Bowmasters of their own. It's very bad to cast the first Bowmaster. But I'm hoping that I can win the counter war. So I'm just going to fire this off in my opponent's upkeep. So Force of Will pitching a Consider. I'm fine fighting. Force of Negation pitching Force of Will. You daze. So if I daze back, my opponent has the 1. So they win this war. However, they set themselves back a land drop, making my own daze a little bit better as this game goes on. Again, Dark Ritual is batshit insane here. Cavern on Phyrexian? It's more likely than you think. So I'll probably pretty aggressively daze something this turn. Then any land just gives me Shouldered. The One Ring is follow-up. A Dark Ritual happens. We're hoping for a 4-mana card, not a 3-mana card like Doomsday. Which it is. My daze may not end up interacting with my opponent favorably. So my opponent has brought in their Shouldereds as well. I don't see Bowmasters from them, though. My own Thassa's Oracle is a very bad draw right now. I could play it as a 1-power attacker / scry thing, which I guess I'm doing. It just feels bad. All right, what are the words on this card? Put up to one of them on the top of your library and the rest on the bottom. So I don't want to put those on top. It's also very awkward for me to daze because it takes me off of my 4-drops. Yeah. So if I don't brainstorm, or sorry, if I don't daze, my opponent always just has Cavern this turn and then Oracle. So I think I have to daze. It just sucks. So my opponent pays. Hopefully this gets me out of the turn and gives me a chance to redraw. But without these being blue cards, I don't have access to something like Subtlety, which might be one of my... yeah, there's the Cavern that I was expecting. Which might be one of my easiest ways to steal a win. Okay. Did you play around Thoughtseize? I think my opponent's been playing pretty well, at least from what I can see. I will take the Thassa's Oracle. I presume their pile has a second one as the bottom card. We'll see if I'm right. No, it was the second from bottom card. And I don't have something like a spot removal spell here to get my opponent. So they win this one, and we 2-3 this league. So this may be a little surprising, but I'm going to give this deck list a thumbs up. I think any issues in this league were largely my fault. I think despite my ability level, we were competitive in all 5 rounds. I think I probably punted round 1, just objectively speaking, and maybe I could have won another round. I don't think I was winning that last round versus my opponent, just kind of based on how the draws lined up. But I think we were competitive in all of our rounds. I definitely messed up some piles. It's kind of a weird league in that the games went really fast in one direction or another, so we didn't see the One Ring's mid-range stuff kind of pop off in the way that I've often seen it do. We also never did a personal tutor for a Doomsday, I think, throughout the league, which is weird. So I don't know that this was the most typical Doomsday league in a couple of different ways. I liked the sideboard cards that I had the option of boarding into. I don't necessarily know what comes out all the time, and what comes out kind of vastly changes what piles are available. Like if you cut a Street Wraith, you lose Street Wraith, Edge, and that just gets you to no cards in library very, very, very easily. But I give this list my seal of approval. I think this list is good. I just think, you need a few hours of doing some gold fishing, building some piles, a couple test sessions versus a few different types of decks. So you learn oh, these are the best piles versus Red Prison. These are the best piles versus Control. And I didn't have that, figured out well enough as someone who is going to play 1 or 2 Doomsday leagues a year. But if you like what you see today, maybe you want some fancy Street Wraith art, check out Cool Stuff Inc. and use promo code ThrabenU to save 5% on your order while supporting my content. And folks, I hope you all have a wonderful rest of the day. See ya!